Hey, my name is Rebecca Wilson. I'm 38 years old, and as I stood at my mother's funeral surrounded by family and old friends, I was only dreading one thing: the arrival of my sister, Stephanie. It had been 6 years since I'd last seen her. 6 years since she stole my fiancé, Nathan Reynolds, the man I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. And yet, as she walked in that day, flashing a smug smile and flaunting that same diamond ring Nathan once slipped on my finger, I didn't feel rage. I felt something far more dangerous. Because Stephanie had no idea who was waiting to meet her, or who I had become. But before I tell you how her face turned ghost white when she saw who I married, let me take you back. Let me show you how the world I built came crashing down, and how I rose from its ruins. And while you're here, let me know where you're watching from, and hit that subscribe button to join my journey. I grew up in a modest home just outside Boston. My mother, Eleanor, was the rock of our family. Graceful, strong, and deeply compassionate. We were close. She was my confidant, my anchor. As an adult, I moved downtown and built a solid career as a marketing executive. I had the apartment, the lifestyle, the friends, but not the love. Until Nathan. I met him at a charity gala through my college friend, Allison, a self-made tech millionaire. Nathan was charming, confident, and thoughtful. We clicked immediately. In less than 2 years, he proposed on a private yacht with a 5-carat diamond ring. I called my mom that night in tears of joy. She couldn't wait to help plan the wedding. Felt like the start of something magical. Stephanie, my younger sister by 2 years, had always been competitive. As kids, she wanted every toy I had. Teens, every friend. As adults, I thought we'd outgrown it. I was wrong. She was charming to Nathan, too charming. I brushed off the signs. The giggles, the lingering touches, the constant compliments. Even when our mother pulled me aside one night and said, "Stephanie seems quite taken with Nathan," I waved it off. "She's just being friendly," I said. What a fool I was. 3 months before our wedding, things began to shift. Nathan worked late, seemed distant, and started criticizing things he once adored about me. My laugh, my favorite dress, even my bedtime reading habit became annoying. Stephanie, meanwhile, was always around. "Just helping with the wedding," she'd say. One day, while cleaning Nathan's car, I found something. A silver earring with a tiny sapphire, Stephanie's. The one she wore at our engagement party. When I confronted them, their stories matched perfectly. Too perfectly. Still, I tried harder. Spa days, candlelit dinners, new lingerie. But he pulled further away. Then one night, I heard his hushed voice in the hallway. "Not now, she'll hear us." He knew. I surprised Nathan at his office with lunch. His secretary tried to stop me. I walked past her and opened his office door. And there they were, Nathan, Stephanie, locked in a kiss, arms around each other like lovers in a movie. My world shattered. He tried to smooth it over with lies. She didn't even bother. "It just happened," she said. "No," I told her. "You made it happen." Then I walked out, tears held back until I reached the elevator. I called my mom from the bathroom floor of my apartment. She came immediately. My father wanted to kill him. The wedding was off. But the damage was only beginning. Stephanie moved in with Nathan within weeks. She wore my ring, replaced my photos with hers. Friends took sides. The betrayal was public. Mother begged us to reconcile. But every dinner ended in bitterness. "I finally got something before you," Stephanie once said across the table. "You mean my fiancé?" Snap. He wasn't a prize. My father's health declined from the stress. My mother aged visibly, haunted by a family torn apart. 6 months later, I hit rock bottom. Diagnosed with depression, I lost a major client at work. Then came the news. Nathan and Stephanie got married in a small civil ceremony. The photo was on Boston Magazine's website. My old ring sparkled on her finger. Cried that night. Drank a whole bottle of wine and called in sick the next day. But by morning something shifted. I was done giving them power. I deleted every photo, blocked them on everything, and took a long shower, as if I could wash off years of pain. Then I applied for a job in Chicago. 2 weeks later I was gone. Fresh start. Real one. Chicago was lonely at first. My apartment felt sterile. Work was my escape. Then came Madison, our HR director. She invited me to a book club, introduced me to new friends, and slowly I began to rebuild. Romance. I wasn't ready. But fate doesn't ask if you're ready. At a tech conference in San Francisco, I met Zachary Foster. Not flashy, not loud. He was thoughtful. Curious. He listened. We exchanged cards, kept in touch, and over time something grew. This time it was real. Now back to where we began. At my mother's funeral. She passed away after a long battle with cancer. I held her hand as she took her last breath, still trying to hold the family together. And now I stood waiting for Stephanie. When she arrived, hand in hand with Nathan, her smile froze the moment she saw the man beside me. Zachary, my husband. Successful, kind, respected. Not a man drawn to flash, but to depth. Business connections started to notice how often Zachary and I had lunch together. Madison raised an eyebrow one afternoon and said, "He likes you, Rebecca. And not just professionally. We're just colleagues," I insisted. She smiled knowingly. Colleagues don't look at each other the way he looks at you. Eventually, Zachary asked me to dinner, somewhere unrelated to work. I panicked twice before forcing myself to go. 20 minutes into the date, while we were discussing favorite books, I had a full-blown panic attack. My hands shook, my breathing went shallow, and tears welled up. Zachary didn't flinch. He calmly moved to sit beside me and gently helped me regain control. No judgment, no awkwardness. He drove me home, didn't ask questions, and gave me space. The next day, flowers arrived at my office with a note. No pressure. No expectations. Just hoping you're feeling better. Zachary. That evening I called him and told him everything about Nathan, about Stephanie. He listened without interrupting. Then he shared his own story. His ex-wife left him for his business partner, taking half their company. Broken trust leaves scars, he said. But anyone worth your time will understand that healing isn't linear. In the months that followed, Zachary and I built something slow and strong. Friendship first. He never pushed. He showed up consistently and respected my boundaries. For our 5th date, he cooked dinner at his apartment instead of a crowded restaurant. When anxiety resurfaced, he always knew how to help. For the first time since Nathan, I believed trust was possible again. A life rebuilt. 1 year after moving to Chicago, my life was unrecognizable. I was promoted to senior marketing director with a corner office. My circle expanded, and so did my peace. And yes, I had fallen deeply in love with Zachary. Unlike Nathan, Zachary's love was quiet but unwavering. He noticed the little things. My oat milk preference, my favorite podcast, my love for thunderstorms. He respected my independence while offering unconditional support. When I met his sister, Caroline, we bonded immediately. She told me childhood stories about Zachary that painted the full picture of the kind, grounded man he'd become. I kept in close contact with my parents, avoiding the subject of Stephanie. I visited twice, strategically timing trips when she and Nathan would be away. Through my mother's quiet updates, I learned they had bought a grand house in Beacon Hill. Stephanie still posted picture-perfect shots online. But according to Mom, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. My therapy in Chicago helped me untangle the knots left by betrayal. I learned to recognize my triggers, establish boundaries, and slowly the nightmares faded. Proposal, a promise. That June, Zachary surprised me with a weekend trip to Michigan's wine country. It was perfect. Sunsets, vineyards, and easy laughter. On our last evening, beneath a trellis of climbing roses at the Chicago Botanic Garden, Zachary took my hands and said, "This past year has been the greatest gift of my life." Then he knelt. Panic bubbled for a moment. Flashbacks of Nathan's proposal tried to intrude, but Zachary's steady gaze grounded me. "I'm not asking for an answer today," he said. "I just want you to know, whenever you're ready, I'll be here." I smiled through tears. "I'm ready now." The ring was perfect, not flashy like Nathan's, but a beautiful emerald, elegant and timeless. Wedding bells and ghosts of the past. We planned a small wedding, just 30 guests. At my mother's urging, I sent Stephanie an invitation. Her reply was curt. "Congratulations. We have prior commitments." Sighed. It's progress in its own way. Our wedding day was filled with quiet joy. My father walked me down the aisle and whispered, "I haven't seen you this happy in years." Zachary's vows moved me to tears. "I promise to be worthy of the trust you've given me." We bought a brownstone in Chicago, renovated it together. My career advanced to vice president. Zachary's firm flourished, investing in women-led startups. One night over dinner, a business contact mentioned Nathan Reynolds. He and Foster were rivals years ago. Foster backed the winning startup. Reynolds went bankrupt. Later that evening, I asked Zachary. He confessed he had known who I was when we met. "I wanted you to know me as me, not as part of your past." I wasn't angry. If anything, the irony felt poetic. Chapter 13, full circle. We tried for a baby. Months passed. Fertility treatments followed. Through it all, Zachary was my anchor. Then came the call. Mother's cancer had returned. We flew to Boston. I took a leave from work to care for her. Zachary flew in every weekend. Her decline was swift. One night she said, "Promise me you'll try with your sister." "Not for her. For yourself." "I'll try," I said, though I didn't know if I meant it. She passed peacefully days later. The funeral and the fallout. At the funeral, I dreaded facing Stephanie. She arrived with Nathan, all designer black and forced smiles. Zachary stood by me as a steady presence. Stephanie asked to speak alone. I followed her to a side room. She tried to boast. Cape Cod mansion, plans for a baby. I didn't take the bait. Then I smiled and said, "Have you met my husband?" Zachary entered. Nathan followed. "Foster," Nathan muttered. "Reynolds," Zachary said coolly. The air thickened. The past clashed with the present. As the funeral began, my father clutched his chest. Panic. Guests rallied. He stabilized. Stephanie showed real concern. For a moment, grief dissolved our history. During the service, she tried to speak but faltered. I stepped beside her. "It's okay," I whispered. Later at the reception, I noticed her watching me. Her expression was different. Raw. Human. A fragile beginning. Zachary left for Chicago. I stayed to help my father and sort through Mother's belongings. In a drawer, I found her journal. Pages filled with hopes for her daughters. Her last entry. "My greatest regret is leaving with my girls still estranged." Then the doorbell rang. "Stephanie, can I come in?" she asked. We sat in silence. She confessed. Her marriage was a mess. The luxury a facade. Nathan controlling. "I'm planning to leave him," she said. I didn't know what to say. But we talked for hours. Laughed. Cried. Remembered Mom. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But something had shifted. Homecoming. Back in Chicago, I resumed life with Zachary. Then, 6 months after Mom's funeral, I found out I was pregnant. Joy washed over me. But also sadness. She would never meet her grandchild. Still, I felt her everywhere. Stephanie and I stayed in contact. She filed for divorce. Moved into a modest apartment. Started working again. She was rebuilding honestly this time. As I watched Zachary paint our nursery, I thought about what I'd say to our child one day. That heartbreak doesn't mean the end. That endings make room for new beginnings. That forgiveness is freedom. My scars remain, but they're just reminders of the path I survived. Path that led me here. Peace. To love. To the life I was always meant to live. Have you ever experienced a painful loss that led you somewhere better? Share your story in the comments. And if this journey resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories of healing. Because sometimes, the most painful chapters lead to the most beautiful endings.